Welcome to the Jaros Health Podcast, where we make it easy for you to better serve older adults through our content that informs, community that inspires, and courses that deliver. Welcome, folks, to the Jaros Health Podcast. My name is Dustin Jones. Good to talk to you. I have the pleasure of sitting here with Jessica Hosford. We're doing an e-interview. I'm not sitting beside her, but we're chatting over the internet about her amazing practice model. Jessica, welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Hi, thank you.
So Jessica owns Wave Therapy Florida with her husband, Kevin. What part of Florida are you in?
We're actually in the Panhandle, the Gulf Coast, sort of outside of Pensacola, in a place called Gulf Breeze.
Okay. Sounds terrible.
It's pretty rough.
Sounds like a miserable place to be. So I can't remember. We were talking about this a little bit ago. I can't remember how I came across your account, but I believe it was on Facebook or Instagram. Mm-hmm. But I want to give you a little background on why I kind of geeked out about your setup. I've been binge watching Living Big in a Tiny House. Have you heard of this YouTube channel?
I have not.
Oh, man. So there's this gentleman that lives in New Zealand that travels around the world and does tours of tiny homes. Okay. And they're very interesting because they're all very different and very unique. And tiny homes now are on just a whole nother level than when I kind of geeked out about them a few years ago. But every once in a while, he'll do like a conversion van or an ambulance that someone converts, or a school bus. And so I've been just binge watching that at night once our daughter goes to sleep. And I saw your conversion van therapy clinic. Like, this is amazing. I got to talk to this woman.
Yes, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
I watched the building of the tiny houses, and it is pretty interesting to see how, people can live.
Did that contribute to you opening up a tiny clinic?
I didn't really, a little bit actually, once we started looking at the vans and or what type of van we wanted to get, it was definitely a factor. I mean, you want to get the biggest one you could possibly get because, you never know how much more equipment or more items you want to put in there. So you want to have as much space as possible. So that did contribute, I think, to some degree. I mean, we looked into some different options.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we wanted to go with as the largest, nicest vehicle possible,
It looks awesome. So let's start kind of before this new model. So give us a quick and dirty in terms of your career and kind of where you were at career-wise and then just life-wise before you made the leap into this new model.
Awesome. So, been a PT about 10 years now. Pretty much most of my career, I've been in skilled nursing facilities. About 5 years ago, decided to go into management. So, been a rehab director at 2 different buildings, one down in Orlando, and now one here up in the Panhandle. So learned a lot of things about treating a full caseload as a PT, and then moving into the administrative role, and learned a lot about the payment side, the insurance side, the productivity side. Obviously being a full-time therapist, being a manager of it, seeing how insurances play such a big part in discharging patients from that setting, people going home, a lot sooner than before, in the past, from what I've seen in my 10 years. So, so I just was kind of looking at sort of some big picture things, seeing sort of some pitfalls as far as patients wanting to come back after they discharged, sometimes maybe before they were ready, and getting home to a level that they weren't really, as functional as they wanted to be before, or even as safe. So a lot of the patients would want to come back to our facility as an outpatient, and a lot, and I mean a lot.
Did you all offer that?
We did offer outpatient, yes, as an option. So in this smaller town that we were in, they really loved the social part of it, and to get to come back, they would really want to do it. Now, a lot of times they wouldn't be able to come back for various reasons, transportation being a big part, and maybe their families worked and couldn't drive them, or maybe they themselves couldn't drive anymore. Either way, they couldn't come back. And that made me sad, because I know that socially, physically, and in so many ways, it was so healthy for them to come back and to finish up that rehab, and they couldn't. So that part, I would it bothered me. I would come home. I'm always like telling my husband, man, this stinks. Like, I really wish that I could offer them more, or it makes me sad, because I feel like they're maybe not getting that encouragement that they need. I mean, not to say that they didn't have some kind of therapy at home, which is great, but maybe they just wanted to continue and they couldn't. Yeah. So my husband's a very outside the box type of thinker. And so he would, well, what can we do? And was not in healthcare before. So, in some ways it was a good thing, because he would be naive, and where I was like jaded in some of these.
Right.
He's like, why can't we create a mobile gym? And I'm like, what? Like, we can't make, we have state and ACA and Medicare. Like, they do not see things like this. This is great. And he would be like, well, why not? Why not? What? So it just got me kind of thinking a little bit more. Maybe we can do this.
Yeah. If he's by you and wants to hop in on this, he's more than welcome to.
He's sitting over here. But yeah, can you hear you listening? You want to listen in?
No.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really cool. So let's see here. I'm trying to think. I don't want to cause a marital fight here. If he can't hear me, then that's okay.
No fight here. No. We've been married and dating a long time. We have 2 kids. We're good.
Oh, you're set. This is nothing. So what was the biggest thing that he changed your mind on in particular through this process?
Well, the biggest thing he changed my mind on, I think really just persuading me to do that mobile part of it. So like, I'm more like type A, like rule, like he's like I said, a little more outside the box. So he would really start when we started talking about a mobile gym. I mean, I didn't really know how to go forward. Now he would say, well, what type of equipment, and really just start kind of picking my brain on it. And I'm like, he's like, no, I'm serious. I want to know, like, what types of things can you work on? And really got me to kind of start thinking like more about a real treatment. Like, okay, how would I logistically get a patient into the van? Or, when we talked about what types of vehicle, it was like, do we go box truck? No, that's scary. There's no windows. Like, we didn't want people to feel like,
is this person kidnapping me or trying to help me?
Exactly. So, I mean, starting to think about like an actual, like, if we're going with a gym, it has to be the nicest. I want like people see things and they interpret it as like, okay, a Mercedes versus not that there's anything wrong with a Ford, but I was like, no, I want it brand new. I want it to be, because, we're not going with a brick and mortar here. Like, it has to be really nice, something that someone would want to come into, and it would be air conditioned and windows and just new and nice. Like, because it's a different type of event. They have to trust you and really want to just come into the van. So I think that was like the biggest thing he really kind of challenged me on more than anything was, how can I really make a treatment work in here? Like what are the things I really need? What are the necessities? Like,
that's cool. Yeah. So the transition, to opening, I'm sure was a long one. What did you pare down your kind of steady job as you were trying to transition, or was it like you got to one point, quit, and then open the new one? Or were you doing just kind of home visits, trying to build that kind of outpatient case. So kind of what was your journey for that transition to the point where you're at now?
That's actually a really great question. That's an awesome question because that's very real life. That's real. We have a family, we have, children we're trying to raise. So this was a huge leap and very anxiety producing, I would say, especially for SPTs. I mean, always had a steady, consistent job, like never really worried about that day to day. So what we decided to do, it actually took almost a year to get the entire thing from LLC start to ACA, licensed with ACA with our state. So in that time, yes, I did still work. I worked about 6 months still doing that job while we were kind of doing this application process and financials and lots and lots of working with a CPA and figuring it all out and budgeting. And then right about 6 months in, we really weren't even sure how long it was going to take at this point. Yeah. But I felt like I was ready to put all my efforts or as much as I could into starting the business because I didn't want to just half start it, like if you're gonna, either we're going to do it. And I would say that my husband was really great about that. Like if we're doing it, are we all in or are we a little bit in? Right. So decided to resign from my position as a director because that obviously took a lot of time at night and on the weekends and all that. So resigned and went to PRN based. So I would work with several of the buildings, skilled nursings in the area. Also got on with a company and did PRN at an assisted living, actually 2 assisted living facilities. So that really helped because it was nice because I would have the flexibility of, yes, I can work, no, I can't work, that type of thing. But you also run the gamble of, they don't need you. They don't need you. So at that point, I would always take it as, I'm a religious person. I really believe that things happen as they should. So if I didn't get work one day, I would just take it as he wants me to look and do something different. Like maybe that's marketing for our new company. Maybe that's, whatever I had to do. Call another insurance company because that always takes a full day's energy. Yeah. So, I would just really try and look at it that way. And if I was able to get, they called me and they needed me, I would try and go and do it because I didn't know would I be able to work the next day on this or was it going to do that, Wow. So I did supplement that way.
Okay. So it was kind of a thoughtful transition, over a year.
Yes.
So are you mainly billing Part B, or do you have like a fitness component as well that you're taking cash, or kind of how is it working right now?
No, it's mostly Medicare Part B, and just getting the other insurance, the commercial insurances to come on board. The area that we are in, we have a lot of retired military patients, a lot up here in the Panhandle. So I was really wanted to get TRICARE to see our model, which they did, thankfully. And then other ones are coming around to it. Okay. So mostly that. We do have some, cash-based, like private pay patients who don't even want to deal with insurance. And so we have that side. And then we have the other side where it's mostly Medicare outpatient.
Wow. So what's been your most valuable communication line or avenue to get some patients? It helps that you've been doing your thing for 10 years in that community, but has there been one thing in particular that's been super effective to get people in your van door?
Yeah. So we had actually the Pensacola News Journal, which is one of the big newspaper companies up here in this area, did a new business article on us. And that was phenomenal because they really asked us for our information, pictures, whatever. And our population, the geriatric population, they love that paper.
Did you pursue that or they just reached out?
So we had actually emailed them, didn't hear back. And then about 2 weeks later, another person called and said, hey, my editor, contacted me and gave me your information. Would you guys be interested in, can we do this new business article? We're like, heck yeah, that would be amazing. That was a really big, and then from there we could share that on our social media. and that was a really big thing for us, advertising wise. And then I would say one of the things that I found and I love the most about being a PT and going and marketing on my own is getting to go talk to the doctors on my, like right there, like face to face with the doctors. Now I don't always get to get in with the doctor that day, but there are some that are just like, if they happen, I just drive up, and what people do love is show and tell. So I'm going in, I'm telling you, I'm the physical therapist. Here is what I can offer your patients that are falling, losing balance, getting weaker, the opportunity to complete an entire treatment program without having to deal with transportation, driving, scheduling. It's like amazing. I mean, the doctors, they love it. And there's a lot of nurse practitioners up here that have come into the van or they love it. And we can go to assisted living and they're like, what? This gets people out of the building. Like it's a change of environment, a change of scene. It's like very, I guess, uplifting and encouraging. And then they're getting that one-on-one and they feel really special and it's low stim and it's like, it's just a really cool. So I would say that face-to-face marketing, even though it is time consuming, probably one of the most effective things because it's a relationship and it's the doctor saying, oh, that's the physical therapist that's going to be treating my patient. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So that's
so cool.
Better than it really is. It's cool. It's cool to get to, I guess, show them what the patient will be doing instead of just saying it,
Right. So let's say if we were able to talk to the Jessica that, about a year and a half ago, what would you tell her? What words of wisdom, or things that you'd want her to know just to not come out of left field?
Holy moly. I would say, if you pray.
Yeah. All right.
It is probably the most, I would probably say the control thing is gone. Like you have no real control of it. You have no control of when the insurances want to call you back, when ACA wants to do their deal, when they want to talk to you, you better be ready, because they're tough to get a hold of and they're not on really a time frame. They don't see you as like raising a family, trying to start a business, dwindling your savings, et cetera. It's very scary, but kind of that like exciting, scary thing. So I would probably say, forget your timeline. It's not on your timeline. It's not in your control. You're just going to deal and, keep being persistent in the fact of like what you believe. If you believe that what you're doing is really, I guess, in your heart and in your, like what you believe that you're doing is right, then just stick with it, and to be patient. And that's probably one of the hardest things when you're wanting to get something like this going to do, to be patient and to believe in what you're doing is like, keep that persistence.
Right.
It does take time.
Yeah, man. And that's easier said than done, isn't it? I mean, that would be a very tough situation.
Very, very hard. But, I think people looked at us like we were crazy for pretty much the whole time. We would be, we call it parketing. Marketing by parking our van places. We've got a lot of people actually come up and say, be interested. And we're like, well, I'm sorry, we can't really get started yet. And that was a tough thing. You're like, oh, you have somebody right there who's interested.
Yeah.
But you can't do it yet. That was tough. So.
Were there any super helpful like online resources, Facebook groups, or anything like that really helped you sort out this process?
Yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot. I couldn't really find a whole lot on. Oh, bless you. On this type of I mean, I've seen people doing the at home therapy or going like in the homes as therapists, but I didn't really know how that would work, like billing wise. And I don't. A lot of people that have done that I could find market research that have done like a outpatient van or any type of mobile unit, they weren't billing Medicare or there weren't, I don't know. That part of it was kind of tough, or they were just doing just cash based or something, or not dealing with insurances because it is kind of a nightmare to get the insurances to like, when you don't fit in their check boxes, it's like, what? You have to go back and back. Now I'm pretty, I don't know what the word headstrong or, I don't want to say obsessive, but
persistent.
Persistent is a good word. I don't like to take no because if I believe that it's right for the patient, why would you say no? Like, why should we not offer this, you know? And so I still like with some of the insurances, I'm like, no, your people that are, you know, have your insurance want this. They are needed this. We don't have public transportation so much in this area. So you're going to leave them hanging, like they're paying for you guys. Like you should give them what they need. So I'm an advocate in that way.
I like that.
I'm an advocate like that. I don't like taking no from the insurance.
I like it.
But none of us do, but
it's just cool to see how, like what that persistence and just the determination is created. I mean, I'm just observing from afar from the internet, which we all know probably doesn't always match reality in terms of social media and whatnot. But it's just really cool to see that the van and just how beautiful it is, and to see people in that space and that you're treating them and just to see it, you know, go all over the community. It's just really neat to see. So I'm thankful, you know, for your time and chatting with me. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that listen to this that were probably in your previous position, you know, whether in leadership or in that particular setting of a SNF or even home health. I'm feeling this in the home health setting where you're continually getting squeezed, wanting us to do more and more from the documentation side of things and justification, and just diverting our attention from the person in front of us. And you saw that and made a shift, and it's really inspiring. And I'm sure there's gonna be lots of people that are thinking, I wonder if I could do that. Yeah. So I encourage people that are interested in this, go in the show notes, and there's going to be a link to Jessica's website and her Instagram page and Facebook page and all that fun stuff. So you can just see, you know, what she's doing. Cause I know we talked about, and I hope you can kind of get the vision, but it's a conversion van with what all do you have in? Give us the layout of that.
I can. So we ended up going with a passenger van, Mercedes. So this thing came loaded with seats, if you will. I mean, our kids flipped out when they first saw it. They like, we drove around the block, down the street. They thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Now I got a little bummed out when we took out the seats. They thought it was going to be their jungle gym, but, we ended up, this is where Kevin, my husband, comes into play. We had to cover the slats that those seats were in, because obviously that would be a major tripping hazard. So we ended up covering the floors or those slats with some flooring in there. And then I wanted to have a high-low table or a mat table. Yeah. So I have that. I got a physio step, which I really wanted. So that's been huge. In patients, they love that. And, I like it too. So I have that. I have obviously my ankle weights, my dumbbells, E-stim. That was a big thing I wanted to. I utilize ACP products. Well, I've used, and I like those the best from my skilled nursing setting. So, I was actually able to purchase some of those that were, refurbished and not as expensive as brand new. So that was pretty cool. Obviously BioFreeze, I have my vital sign stuff, my O2 blood pressure and those types of things. There's some things that I want. They're on my list, but obviously to get started, you know, we had to kind of, but I'm hoping, as we kind of grow and are maybe able to offer a little bit more, there's some balance equipment that I want. I have, you know, Eric's pads and some things, grab bars we put in the van. Obviously, and we have a ramp. So the van that we got, the passenger van, has this electrical step that comes out, but then there's still a couple steps to it. So we got an extra step, has handles on it to get in. And then we got a removable ramp for those patients that are wheelchair or non-weight bearing or something. We can utilize the ramp to put that on the back. But that took some finagling too. Hey, I didn't mention too, inspection for state. Okay, that was a whole nother deal. Yeah. To go through those regulations. Got to read up on that, but fire safety, all that good stuff.
That's incredible. So folks listening, I hope you get an idea, but you need to go to her social media sites because she's got some good pictures on there you can check out. Well, Jessica, I appreciate your time and thank Kevin as well. It's just cool to see you all taking the leap into this new model and serving people in a pretty unique way. And I'm going to put your website and social media on the show notes so people may reach out. You may get some questions now if that's okay.
I'm glad to do it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for listening to the Jaros Health Podcast. Go to jaroshealth.com to get the show notes for this episode and find out how you can join the Jaros community for free. You'll get access to our private Facebook group and the weekly Jaros Recap, where we share our favorite reads, podcasts, and any interesting conversations in the Jaros community that week. Once again, that's GEROS health.com. Thanks for listening.